This is Indianapolis This Week with Rafael Sanchez.
And a big Sunday morning ahead. Thank you for joining us for Indianapolis This Week. Rafael will join us in just a few minutes. We are also online right now. Use your phone or tablet. Follow our Indy This Week Twitter account. Join the discussion with us live right now. And let's begin with Friday's big bombshell. House Speaker John Boehner announcing his resignation from Congress. Boehner told fellow House Republicans on Friday that he was stepping down from the House at the end of October. He has been under enormous pressure from the conservative wing of the GOP and from members of the Tea Party who feel he hasn't been conservative enough as Speaker. It also comes with another possible shutdown looming, this one over the fight to defund Planned Parenthood. Over the last 5 years, our majority has advanced conservative reforms that will help our children and their children. I am proud of what we have accomplished, Boehner said on Friday. It is my view, however, that prolonged leadership turmoil would do irreparable damage to the institution. To that end, I will resign the speakership and my seat in Congress on October 30th. Reaction from Indiana's congressional delegation included Republican Todd Rokita in a statement saying, "I thank John Boehner for his service to our nation and wish him and his family the best moving forward." Going on to say the reason that he gave for leaving demonstrates perhaps most eloquently his humble servant leadership and character and the respect he has for the institution and country. And fellow Republican Marlin Stutzman thanking Boehner for his service to the House as well, saying as we move forward over the next month, there will be plenty of time for speculation on who will succeed him as Speaker. In the meantime, it is important we thank the Speaker for his service and wish him well in his future endeavors. And on a big Sunday, we welcome in our political insiders now, Dan Parker, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, and Mary Beth Schneider. Let's get right to it. Your reaction, Abdul, we'll start with you.
Not surprising. There'd been sort of a lot of rabble-rousing from what they call the Freedom Caucus. I call them the mouth-breathing, intellectually, politically inbred caucus. They'd never been happy with John Boehner's leadership. Anything that looked like cutting a deal, making the government work, making it function, they pushed aside to ideology. They finally got enough votes to push John Boehner out as Speaker.
Dan, on the Democratic side of things, are lawmakers celebrating today? Are they hesitant about what could be next for the Republicans?
Well, I think this is a true loss for the institution and for the country. I mean, with a government shutdown potentially looming, does this embolden what Abdul has rightfully described the Tea Party?
See, they made me agree with Parker, so that'll tell you how annoying it is.
But, you know, at his core, John Boehner cared about the institution. He was a deal maker. He probably had the worst job in America. And I can't blame him for leaving. But this could be really bad for the country in terms of trying to get things done. And it really could be bad for the Republican Party because the unknown sometimes is worse.
Mary Beth, we throw the word bombshell around. No problem here in TV news. Does this qualify as a bombshell?
Yeah, I think it was, and it was surprising. I mean, we all knew he was in trouble, but there was no indication it was coming right now that he was going to step aside, especially one day after the visit with the Pope. My first reaction was, holy moly. And the thing now is it clears the way, I think, in some sense, to have a deal forged with the White House to prevent a shutdown, but we really don't know whether that actually will happen. You would think that he's stepping down, he'll do anything he can, it's not going to affect him, and he'll cut a deal, but will he be allowed to? We saw today at the Voter Values Conference on Friday, that they cheered and gave a standing ovation when they heard he's leaving. The Club for Growth, which is a conservative organization run by a former Indiana Congressman, David McIntosh, basically said, adios, pal, and that they're hoping this will lead to a more conservative leadership in the House. And John Boehner was a conservative guy. I do think it's going to, you know, the Pope came there and preached this message about cooperation.
And learn to get along.
That's all
Which
so
feeds
old.
perfectly into our transition.
And as soon as the Pope left, as soon as in Philadelphia, New York City, they go back to acting like children again.
And let's talk about the Pope's visit. Surprised by how politicized his visit was and possibly the messages that he brought to Washington?
I think it's interesting because the Pope has been anything but, he's always been consistent. He said, hey, if you value the life issue, then it's life at conception, but it's also the death penalty. You know, if we believe in traditional marriage, fine, but we also have to believe in equality. And it sort of seems to me like everybody else was trying to co-opt the Pope's message politically to meet their own ends as opposed to being consistent with the Pope's very consistent message.
Yeah, well, I don't see what's political about saying take care of the earth, take care of the poor, get along.
Sounds like Jesus to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
As someone who's been sort of invigorated by, you know, as a Catholic, the Pope has really transformed the church because he lets us all reaffirm what we believe in instead of what we're against. And the message of compassion and mercy is one that probably does not get enough airtime in this world of tweets and 30-second sound bites.
But it may have gone in one ear and out the other in Congress.
Unfortunately, probably lasted one day in the U.S. House.
As that'll tend to do on Capitol Hill sometimes. The state, obviously mourning State Representative Bill Crawford, passing away on Friday at the age of 79 years old. Your memories of Bill Crawford and the legacy he's left behind. Abdul?
Bill and I came from a different philosophical perspectives. We butted heads quite frequently, but he always had a very healthy respect for the institution and for his constituents. He was an advocate fighter for his constituents.
Mary Beth?
And he started as a civil rights activist in this community back in the 60s. He was somebody who did not feel welcome in the State House, and he ends up serving 4 decades there. An amazing guy.
Bill?
You know, just a tireless advocate for his community, civil rights. And I think, you know, standing up for Indianapolis public schools will be his legacy, you know, coming out of the legislature. I mean, he was just a tireless advocate for his constituents, and that's the true definition of a state representative.
And finally, we'll end this discussion this morning with a one-word answer. Senator John McCain said that Boehner's announcement indicates the party is in disarray right now. Do you agree, yes or no?
Yes, but I agreed before this.
Abdul?
Heck yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks to all of you for being here right now. The conversation with our insiders this morning continues right now on Twitter. Follow Dan, Abdul, Mary Beth, and all our insiders to be part of the debate. And of course, while you're there, follow our official Twitter account as well at Indy This Week for news and updates every day of the week. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Indianapolis This Week. One of Central Indiana's largest utilities is now seeking several rate hikes. Citizens Energy is pointing to federal mandates and aging infrastructure as to why it needs more money from you. First, an increase to your water rate and then wastewater next year. Here again, Rafael.
Now joining us is the CEO of Citizens Energy, Jeff Harrison. Welcome to the program. You are asking the public to invest dollars into the system. Is this about keeping up with the Joneses, or is there a critical need for those dollars?
You know, there's really a critical need. Many people can't see the underground infrastructure, but that infrastructure in many places is over 100 years old. And so, given the age of the infrastructure, it needs to be repaired. We have main breaks to the tune of hundreds of main breaks each year, and those main breaks interrupt customers. We also lose finished water product when those breaks occur. So it's about really taking care of a critical need, critical infrastructure here in the community.
Can you go without it, though? Can you wait another year? Can you wait another 10 years? Can you just glue some stuff together and make it work?
You know, that's a great question, and the answer is you could. There would be impacts, negative impacts to the community, we believe. And we've actually gone a long time now. There's not been the level of infrastructure investment that Citizens is making, Citizens has made over the last 3 years. There's not been that level of investment for quite some time. So it's time for us to catch up. We're taking that tremendous challenge on and making sure that, again, we're able to serve our customers.
How do you sell that to the public, though? Because they'll say, you're asking me for more money again. I may not have that money. So how do you sort of bridge that gap?
Sure. You know, I think the news has reported on a number of occasions some of the main breaks and some of the sinkholes that have occurred. I recall in the winter time where there was a main break and there was ice that occurred, that ice that formed on the surface. So our customers are seeing some of the impacts, the negative impacts to the infrastructure need that we have here. Last year, I recall, we also, I believe, shut down Broad Ripple High School due to a main break. So those are examples of incidents that are occurring in the city that, again, require us to make these investments, and if we can get on them ahead of time, proactively as opposed to reactively, we're actually able to save money for our customers in the long run.
The other reality is you are under federal pressure. The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA,
that is correct,
is telling you that you have to do something. So it's not, you can't ignore it, even if you wanted to ignore it.
That's correct. So on our wastewater side,
could you ignore the EPA? Could you tell the EPA?
No, we could not ignore the EPA. So on the wastewater side, we do have a federal mandate. We have to clean up our rivers and streams. There's a phenomenon called combined sewer overflow, where during rain events, and again, it's a rain event as little as a quarter of an inch of rain will cause our combined sewer overflow problem, and that's where rainwater and raw sewage will overflow actually into our rivers and streams.
And you don't want that combination.
We don't want that combination, and we don't want it in our rivers and streams. So we actually have devised an innovative way to clean that up, and that project is primarily being addressed through our Dig Indy project on the south side.
There are signs along many of the waterways throughout Indianapolis that people may not see, but they're there, that tell people, don't touch that water.
Exactly.
There are a lot of those signs.
Over 100, I believe.
Is the investment that you're looking at with the goal of removing those signs at some point? I mean, is it your hope to one day remove those signs and tell people, you know, when it rains in Indianapolis, you could actually go fishing or swimming or whatever is legal in those waterways?
Absolutely. Our goal, once we're done with the Dig Indy Tunnel project, and again, it'll be, it won't be until about 2025 when we're completely done, we'll remove about 5 billion gallons of raw sewage from our rivers and streams, and so we'll clean up about 96 to 97% of our rivers and streams. So there'll be a tremendous difference today in about sometime after 2025 than there is today.
And so folks here at 2025, they think, Mr. CEO, that's a long time, but the other reality is you have to lay pipes into the, I mean, this is not where you can just instantly make it work. And if it could, you would, right? I would imagine.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're actually phasing the project in, and as each phase is completed, we'll bring that phase in service. So our current phase, it's about a 28-mile underground tunnel system, and we're about 10 miles in right now. That 10-mile segment will be complete in about 2017. We'll bring that phase online, and then we'll begin to pull, again, some of that raw sewage out of our rivers.
So what is your vision then? Because obviously a lot of folks are counting on you to get it right and to do it within the budget and to obviously make their neighborhoods better.
Right. You know, the vision really is to improve the quality of life in the communities that we serve, and that starts out with safe, reliable services, utility services. So that's where we're focusing our time, energy, and effort right now. And again, to the extent we can do more, we will. We're also focused on affordability. Affordability is paramount, and so we've got some new low-income ideas that we're proposing in our current rate case to help those low-income customers.
Jeff Harrison, CEO of Citizens Energy, thank you so much. Please come back again. We appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks, Rafael.
Thanks to you both. And Citizens Energy is expecting approval for its water rate hike this year. The average bill is expected to go up $6 a month, and it includes discounts for low-income customers. Citizens' request to increase wastewater prices may not happen until after next summer. Indianapolis This Week returns right after this. For Indianapolis This Week, if you missed any part of the show, you can find it online on our website, theindychannel.com. And stay with us this week as we watch the situation in Washington on a potential government shutdown. For Rafael and our entire RTV6 team, have a fantastic weekend. We'll be right back here with you next Sunday.
Thank you for choosing RTV6 News. Always stay connected. Download the RTV6 app for your mobile device.